From the John DeVito Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now, here he is, live, in person, breathing on his own, the king of Paranormal Radio, Mr. Bob Trisek.
That's me breathing on my own, in case you're wondering what I'm doing. That's my very poor Darth Vader impersonation. Thank you, John, for the wonderful introduction. I'm no longer the king of Paranormal Radio, and I'm breathing on my own. So, okay. This show I'm very excited about. I'm excited. This is going to be an easy show for me. I love this because I've got a great guest tonight. I've got Mr. Tom Cameron, and Tom is he does everything. We're going to get to Tom in just a minute here, and this hour is going to just fly by so quick with Tom here. And he's been with us before. He's a great guest, and you're going to enjoy him. Before I introduce Tom and we get yakety-yakking with Tom about some of the paranormal stuff and some things going on with Tom, what he's doing with his life, I want to just give a few announcements for the Summit Park District. They asked me to do this, and I said, sure, we'll be happy to do some announcements for you. They are having Summit Park. They're having a Battle of the Bands contest. This will be coming up in the summer. This is June 18th of this year, and this is for teens and younger. And it's a battle of the bands, and it's any school band that you have, a marching band, whatever it is. I don't care if you got a concert band, whatever. They're looking for bands just to come and compete. They do charge a $10 fee for this, and there is a prize awarded for it. So give them a call if you've got a little band or something that you think would be interested in that, any school band or home band or town band or whatever, anything with teens and younger. Give them a ring there at 708-496-1012 for that. They can give you more of the details about that and just exactly what's involved, and that's a great thing for the kids. They are running some tours for everybody over there. They're running a Chicago architectural tour that will be Tuesday, June 21st. That goes from 9 in the morning till 3, and that's a $25 fee for that, and that's kind of a nice one, too. I couldn't go on that one because I've got something going on that Tuesday. But they run some pretty nice tours over there with the Park District, and the prices are very reasonable. $25. That's your transportation from the Park District to the tour itself, and then your trip back. Starved Rock, that one I am going on. It's a land and water cruise tour. We're going on that with the Park District Wednesday, July 20th. That will be from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Sometimes we run a little later with these. We don't run on a real tight schedule there with that. That one is $45 per person, and that's kind of a nice thing, too. So if you haven't been to the Starved Rock area in some while, you might consider going on that. And then the Bristol Renaissance Fair. You used to hang out there, didn't you? At the Bristol Renaissance Fair? Yeah.
I did. In fact, I used to do some weddings up there.
Yeah, that's Tom Cameron, just in case. Like I said, we're going to get to Tom because Tom does everything all over the place except make glass eyes and false teeth, which I think he's learning how to do now, too. So he does everything. The Bristol Renaissance Fair. This will be Sunday, August 28th. That'll be from 8:30 in the morning till 4 p.m. And there again, $25. It'd cost you probably $15 at least in gas just to drive up there. So give them a ring for any of these things. 708-496-1012. We do have a couple of paranormal tours and things coming up in the fall that I partnered up with them. We'll be announcing that later. It's a little too early to announce it now. So as the summer wears down into August and we start running into September, we'll be announcing those for you so you can see if that would be something that would strike your fancy. They are running senior lunches. This is something they've been doing over there for the whole year they've been doing this. Every month they do a lunch for seniors. The next one they're having is June 1st, and this will be catered by Orsi's Pizza. And Orsi's actually gave us a little bit of money to do some advertising for them once here. So we did some advertising for Orsi's Pizza over there in Summit. They serve some really, really good food there. They're a nice little bar there. They're nice people. And they're going to do this catered lunch for the Park District. This will be June 1st, and it's free. All you have to do is just show up there. And we're going to be doing a few games and things there, too, with them, too, this time for this one. We're going to do some stuff there to get the seniors involved in that. They do have a summer camp going for the kids. They're trying to get this running off the ground. This is a little complicated. You may want to give them a call at their phone at 496-1012 to get more details and more specifics about it. They're running an early bird camp, which goes from 7 in the morning to 8:30. Then there's a mini camp that goes from 8:30 to 1. There's a full day camp that goes the whole day from 8:30 to 3. And then there's an extended camp where I guess they keep your kids for 3 months. I don't know with the extended camp. I don't know what they do with the extended camp. That goes from 3 till 6. So they got a lot of activities over there for the kids. There's all different prices for this. The early bird is $50. Mini is $125. The full day is $230, and the extended is $110. And I guess this runs for the whole summer. So give them a call over there with that when the sessions start, when they begin, and what's involved with that. And they'll be happy over there to talk to you about the details with that and give you more information on those. Also, too, don't forget us here at Windy City. Tune in on the Windy City Network, www.windycityhometown.com. Also, John Chiconda very nicely throws up our shows on YouTube for us, too. So we're on YouTube. You can listen to us there. And also, too, with our sister station, Jack FM 89.7 WRHS in Norwich, too. You can get us over there. Some of the shows they got, Meet the Chicago Horns, they just did a new show this afternoon, Meet the Chicago Historians. What was their topic today? They did on veterans or something, wasn't it?
That's right, veterans, yes.
Veterans, yeah. Yeah. Jack Ryan, Red Ryan, asked me to come on the show, but I was doing this one at night, and I didn't want to make the trip up and then back home and then back up again and that, so I kind of declined. But next time he's doing a show, if he invites me again, if he's not mad at me, no, I don't think he's mad at me. If he's doing a show on a day I'm not doing mine, I'd be happy to come on the Meet the Chicago Historians because they're a nice bunch of folks there, and they always have a real informative show. The Big Band Showcase, Best of Old Time Radio Shows with Tony Aridia. Did I say his name right?
Yep.
Actually, somebody that's a relative of yours or something is...
Used to be.
Used to be through
Used
your
to be.
wife.
Through my first wife.
We won't talk about that then. More great music with Dane Kane, Frank and his friends. John Chiconda, that's our producer of our show. He does a couple of shows there. He does Serendipity Jukebox, the Stage Like Caribbean, and he does a polka show. I don't know if there's too many stations that still do polkas on the air anymore, are there?
No.
That do them? No, on the Sundays? I know
No.
my dad used to always listen to Little Wally on Sundays.
Nope, not anymore.
Way back 100 years ago when I was a kid.
Not anymore.
Dr. Wayne and Dr. Dan with the Healthy Talk Show, and then Paranormal Radio. Yay, that's me.
And
so
then we
listen to
also
all these shows here.
And we also do Armchair Experts, down at Sports,
And the Italian
Keeping It Real.
Keeping It Real. Yeah, that's the Italian show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say that's the show I can only listen to half of it because I'm half Italian. so anyway, we got all that stuff going on here. So tune into Windy City Network for all that, and catch some of the shows they got here, and kind of become a fan of Windy City. We got a lot of varied programming there. Mr. Tom Cameron, welcome back to Paranormal Radio, sir.
Why, thank you, kind sir. It's a pleasure to be back here with you.
Yeah, it's a joy having you here. Like I said, I look forward to this because it's going to be an easy show for me. Tom, let's see, where do I start? You are involved with the UFOs. Now, are you with the UFOs, MUFON of Illinois?
I'm a member of MUFON, Illinois.
And MUFON is MUFON, that is a Mutual Unidentified Flying Object Network
Correct.
of Illinois, the Illinois branch?
Correct.
And is Sam Mantero still the president there? Or?
Sam Moranto.
Sam Moranto. I always say his name wrong, yeah.
Yeah, Sam Moranto is still the president. In fact, I talked to him this afternoon.
Yeah, so Tom is involved with UFOs. You still do your Taekwondo.
I do.
Tom he instructs Taekwondo. He does that. You teaching the paranormal class still at Moraine Valley College?
On occasion, when they have enough students,
He teaches a paranormal class at Moraine Valley. So if you're interested in paranormal and getting to start with that, find out when Tom's next class is running and get signed up for that one. He sings opera. I was just surprised to find this out today. He sings opera. What else do you do?
Take care of my children, take care of my grandkids.
Well, that's full time right there. I don't know where you find the time for all this other stuff. Good Lord, the man just does everything. Tom, welcome back to Paranormal Radio. Nice to have you back again.
Pleasure.
Yeah. Also, too, I forgot to mention one of the really important ones. Every year, Tom hosts the Paranormal Conference that's over there at Moraine Valley Community College. This year, it is going to be October 15th and 16th. Did I do the dates right?
The dates are correct.
October 15th and 16th, and he's got some different things planned for that. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, what's going on with you?
Well, the exciting part, since you're talking about the Paranormal Conference, the exciting part about the conference this year is we're going to be having workshops, but the biggest change that we're having is I have a national documentary film competition that is going on. We named it the Richard T. Crow Documentary Film Competition in honor of the Chicago Ghost Hunter Rich Crow, who was a friend of mine. And so we're accepting submissions from all over the country about any kind of paranormal topic. It really breaks down into three areas. We have UFOs and extraterrestrials, ghosts and afterlife, or proof of afterlife, and then miscellaneous topics like Loch Ness and Bigfoot and cryptozoology and psychokinesis and other types of paranormal venues, if you will.
Sure, anything out of the ordinary or
anything peculiar, mysterious, right?
Yeah, anything like that. Now you're looking for documentary film only, or can they do like a comedy film or a mini horror film? It has to be documentary.
It's strictly documentary.
So it's restricted to that. Okay, documentary films. Okay,
right, and so they don't necessarily have to be pro paranormal. They could be. They could be skeptics. We're not looking for debunkers. We're not looking for people who just say, "Oh, isn't this ridiculous?" and dismissing it out of hand. But we're looking for people who actually get down on film some sort of scientific or some sort of research that they're doing in order to prove the particular point of view that they're trying to postulate.
Okay.
So for people that want to submit, they can go up to, there's a website, www.filmfreeway.com. That's actually a national clearinghouse for all kinds of film competitions and such.
So if they make a film, they go up to this site then they download it onto there? How does it work?
No, what it does is it gives you the rules for each of the different competitions.
Okay. So
there's all different kinds of competitions that are available, and it then tells you how to contact us, how to fill out the submission forms, how to contact the people that are going to be doing the documentary, and they can put it up on a private website where only we can see it, or they can have it open to the public. It's entirely up to them.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. I was going to say, gee, I don't know how many people are going to want to, take the time to do a film like this and then throw it up there for everybody to see. That way, that kind of thing like that, so anybody could steal their work.
Right.
Yeah, you want to be careful with that. Yeah.
Right. Well, so they have the option. It may be you and I are aware that there are YouTube channels that specialize in that types of stuff as well, and they can even submit stuff that's on those channels. I mean, if one of the owners of the UFO TV channel wants to submit a film, he's certainly welcome to do so. The competition completes in September. We have the judging that goes through September, and then we'll have the finalists at the Paranormal Conference in October, and the awards will be given out at the end of the conference on Sunday night.
Ah, okay. I think I'm a judge on this too, aren't I?
Indeed you are.
I'm a judge for this too, so I will be judging some of these amateur films here, and we'll see how that goes. Who else do you have lined up for judges? Anybody we would know, or...?
Couple people that you would likely know. Joshua Warren, who's a researcher formerly out of Asheville, North Carolina. Now he's actually out of Puerto Rico, but he's done lots of national television shows and things of that nature. I've got a couple people that are actually just in the film industry that work behind the scenes that will be able to at least give us a clue as to whether or not the stuff that we're seeing was actually filmed or created in a computer, so that we can kind of screen out frauds and things of that nature.
So we got some people here that know what they're doing with film, and that can kind of detect some of the frauds or whatever. And that.
Right.
So we're looking for legitimate stuff here, yeah.
Absolutely.
Or a documentary. If you're doing a documentary on Loch Ness or anything, you may not actually have film footage of Nessie, but whatever your research is or whatever you're...
Right, exactly. And Sam Maranta, the guy that you were mentioning earlier, he's actually going to be one of the judges for the UFO portion of it.
Oh, cool.
So.
Geez, I feel honored to be amongst this lineup here. Yeah. Yeah, great. And this is going to be all for the fall. So they have to submit this by September, and we judge it on the 15th or 16th, was it?
Actually, you'll be getting notices as far as where you can see the videos in advance of that, because actually at the conference we're going to be showing all of the finalists.
Okay.
That's going to be a portion of the conference. And
the conference in itself this year, you're doing some different things with that too to kind of update it a little bit and do some different stuff there too.
Absolutely. We're trying to expand the conference. We prior to this, we had one of the large conference room at Moraine Valley. This year, we're actually trying to expand it into using 3 of the conference rooms, because we want one to be just strictly for alternative medical therapies, Reiki and Ayurvedic and things of that nature. One of them is going to be for the metaphysical and more paranormal types of stuff, like the readers such as yourself and the ghost hunters and things of that nature. And then the third one is going to be more miscellaneous types of stuff, where the UFO researchers would be and things of that nature.
Oh, that'll be nice. So it'll be a little something for everybody there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is going to be the 15th and 16th, and Moraine Valley Community College.
Right, October 15th and
October
16th,
15th and
Moraine
16th.
Valley.
And then the number for that, how they want to get a hold of you to reserve a table or something? 'Cause you know how this goes. You have to start these things way ahead of time.
Absolutely.
It's May now, and we're saying, oh, this is October, but you blink your eyes, and October's right around the corner. You know how that goes.
Well, the easiest way of doing it is to go to the website, and that's www.palosparanormal.com.
Okay.
But they absolutely can contact me directly, which is 708-205-3667.
You give your phone number out over the air. Boy, you're brave.
It's
www.palosparanormal.com.
.com.
I'm writing this down myself here. Okay. Okay, so
and it also has
www.palosparanormal.com or
right.
Tom's phone number, which he just gave out there. Get a hold of Tom. Even if you don't want to, just call up and talk to Tom and see if he can make you a set of false teeth or whatever, he'll sing you an aria, an opera. You feel like singing something for us? You said you're a baritone. I was going to say do some Rigoletto, some Questa Quello or La Donna Mobile, but those are all tenor roles there. So.
Those are all. Unfortunately, the baritone and the bass roles are all usually the bad guys.
Do you have anything in opera you specialize in particular, like in Wagner or anything special?
My stuff, it's classical. It's not opera.
Not opera. Okay.
I do more of the religious stuff. I was saying, in July I'll be doing Fauré's Requiem, but I do primarily sacred types of stuff rather than the secular stuff.
All right. Okay.
Although, however, as you and I had said or had discussed beforehand, this Thursday I'm competing. Orland Township has a seniors idol competition, and I'm finally old enough to qualify to compete in the senior idol competition.
How old do you have to be to compete in the senior idol competition?
60. You
have to be 60. Now, I hope they realize that most singers, by the time they're 60, your voices are a little past their prime by 60. A lot of stars are retiring at 60. The opera stars, they retire.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Mm-hmm. But you still have incredible singers like Tony Bennett and people of that nature who have preserved their voice and done it well. And
now Tony Bennett, that's popular singers. We're not talking about trained operatic people.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, but you're right. I mean, most of them, by the time that they get into their 60s,
they go into directing or behind the scenes things.
Right, because their high range essentially is gone.
Of course.
But as I said, since I'm a baritone and bass, you can sing baritone and bass throughout most of your life because you don't have to worry about hitting all of those high notes anymore.
And a lot of baritones in opera, their voices actually improve as they get older.
Yes,
they actually do. Their voices actually get better with age than when they're actually younger. So, but you do at some point you have to say that's enough for me. I can't do this anymore.
My choir director keeps on telling me he's going to get at least 10 more years out of me. So I'm hoping.
They'll just hold you up with a couple of sticks there on the stage and get you to sing, belt out.
Prop me up. Yes, exactly.
So in addition to your singing career and your other stuff that you're doing, what's been going on with UFOs lately? You been doing any work on the UFO front there?
I have not been doing a lot with the UFOs. Been concentrating on trying to get the competition together, trying to get the vendors for the conference and such.
You can only pull yourself in so many directions. Yeah,
this is true.
Yeah.
Been working a lot actually on my own personal energy. I went through a divorce earlier this year, and this is the first time in 60 plus years that I am actually living on my own.
You know what the biggest cause of divorce is?
Marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time, leave the jokes to the host. I thought I had a good one there. But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
no,
to step on
no.
your line.
I'm just messing. I've got more where that came in, but some I can't mention on the air. So.
Well, now you know why I'm divorced. I stepped on my wife's lines too.
Yeah. Well, geez, I'm sorry to hear that. Now this is wife number.
This is wife number two, and it will be the last.
Okay, yeah, that's what they all say. Sure.
She and I are really good friends. We really are the best of friends. I still cook for her occasionally.
So you got one of those Hollywood marriages, huh?
Okay. I'm not sure what all that
Oh,
entails.
they divorce and they're all the best of friends in Hollywood. Everybody in Hollywood that divorces, they're all the best of friends.
Okay.
Well, that's good. It's good, though.
I mean,
I'm making light of it, but it's good, and I'm glad.
It works well,
Mhm.
and it also is good for the continuity for our grandkids because we've still got young grandchildren.
Sure, there's children involved and grandkids around, so of course you want to
Absolutely.
make it nice. But it's good that everybody's mature enough to know that and do it that way. Instead
Absolutely.
of these horrible, bitter divorces where everybody's fighting with everybody. So that's
Actually,
good.
in fact, she's going to be
commendable.
singing for the Foray's Requiem with me.
You're going to be singing with her. Okay.
She's going to be one of the chorus singers for us.
Oh, how nice. Okay. Well, I guess if you can do that, you're okay. So
We're doing well.
Yeah, good.
We're doing well. But one of the results of that is I'm of living on my own and calling my own shot, so to speak. Since January, I've dropped 65 pounds. So,
Good for you. Yeah.
so
now, do you find when you lose or gain a lot of weight that affects your voice too? You're singing.
It gives me better breath control. So yes, absolutely, absolutely. That helps me being able to maintain particularly the upper ranges a lot more stably.
Because mostly in the past, although like you kind of made it clear you're not really an opera singer.
Right.
You sing more concert type works, that type of thing you sing. But most opera singers from the past, as we know, were all pretty hefty people.
They were hefty. As I
pretty,
remember reading in the biography of Caruso, he used to eat 2 chickens before he would go out on stage.
Yeah, Caruso was a big eater, and he did very little exercise. Very little. Yeah, he didn't exercise a lot. Yeah, which is maybe why he died at 48 years old. He died young.
There's a good possibility of that, absolutely.
But nonetheless, a very magical voice, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, amazing voice. Him and Mario Lanza. And
Mario Lanza always said, of course, Mario Lanza, later in his life, as he kind of got crazy, he always said he was Caruso reincarnated. And he had 2 sets of vocal cords. He said one were his own and one was Caruso's. So Mario Lanza was going off the deep end a little bit there.
That's a bit peculiar.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Even for paranormal radio, that's perhaps a...
From time to time, I know you listen to the show whenever you can get it, in between doing things. From time to time, I bring recordings on of some of these old stars and stuff and play them, and some of the old stars that have some paranormal connection, like Tamagno or Caruso's, and some of the other stars that have some sort of a paranormal connection where they haunt some castle or some backstage opera house or something like that. We like to bring them on and play some of these old recordings from way back, some of the old acoustic recordings.
I would think that so many of these people have invested so much of their energy, so much of their spirit into these places that's why so many of these theaters and opera houses and such are haunted. I mean, they're literally just imbued with human energy.
Sure.
And the wood is just an amazing conduit for holding on to that type of energy. I've very seldom.
And plus the emotions that go into that type of singing.
Absolutely.
What you put into it. Some of them are just, you could see at the end of a performance they're just exhausted.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
The singing takes a tremendous amount out of you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean, everybody knows that there are certain plays and certain performances that just have a natural negative connotation to them by themselves. Years ago, I want to say perhaps 20 years ago or so, I did Sweeney Todd for the Beverly Theater Guild.
Okay.
And I will swear that production was cursed. We went through 3 music directors. We went through... That's a very dark show anyway. It's a very dark show, and we did some of the scenes that they didn't even do on Broadway.
Oh.
And it was funny because I went into the show not really knowing what the show was about. All I knew was that Angela Lansbury was in it, so I thought, well, if Angela Lansbury's in it, how bad could it be?
It was actually sort of dark humor, but it's a very dark show though. Very
absolutely.
Dark production, yeah.
Uh-huh. And then the role I ended up with was the judge, the guy who was the primary no-good-nick, if you will, the rapist and all the rest of this. And by the time that we ended up in Tech Week, literally everybody in the cast had been injured. The woman that was playing Mrs. Lovett almost cut her finger off on stage.
Yikes.
I had my throat split open as I was going down the slide from the barber chair down into the basement.
Ay, caramba.
It was astonishing. So I literally brought in sage and holy water, and I blessed the entire
So
place.
when in your production, when you saw blood, it wasn't stage blood; it was real blood.
It was real
Jeez
blood
Louise.
more times than not.
Ay.
And to top it off, the guy who was the director of it 3 months after the production dropped dead at 50.
My Lord, yeah, there was definitely something wrong with you.
Yeah, there was.
You guys had
Yeah, there was something wrong with
something wrong with that production
So,
for certain. Yeah, Mr. John Chikanda, that's our producer here. John Chikanda, he does a lot of theater work and stuff like that from time to time. He's done Arsenic Old Lace. He was the Teddy Roosevelt character and stuff like that.
Okay,
and he's doing a thing. I got together with John. I hadn't seen John in some time. Last week we got together for lunch, and he's doing a thing now with characters, like doing lectures at the libraries and things.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing a John Wayne character type thing like that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so he's doing things like this. So he's pretty talented in that way too, with stuff and that.
That's fun.
So he's very much involved in theater and community theater and stuff when he can, when his time lets him do it. He's so involved. He's another one like you that's going in 10 different directions. So yeah,
it can be challenging.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, over Christmas I got a chance to play Santa Claus. Perhaps now I won't.
I did Santa for. It was the best, one of the best part-time jobs I ever had in my life. For 10 years at the North Riverside Mall, I did Santa.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, because I used to work right there at Toys R Us, and the mall was right next door. So just as a fluke, one time I went and I applied for the job as Santa, and I got hired for it, and I wound up doing it every year for like 10 years. I did Santa, and I would do them like 1 or 2 days a week because I had so many other things I was doing. And at Christmas time with Toys R Us, need I say more? You're very busy.
Absolutely.
So, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun to do. Yeah.
Now, when you were at North Riverside Toys R Us, did you ever encounter the ghost on the railroad tracks there?
Nope, not once. And I use him on the tour. Matter of fact, this year I'll be doing the Southside. That's my Southside Paranormal. Even though it is North Riverside, I include him with that's Frank Nitti. I include him with the Southside Paranormal. And we do the Woodlawn Cemetery and all that up there and that. And I always say to everybody, I worked 24 years right here at this Toys R Us, and the railroad tracks ran along right there, and I never once encountered anything even remotely close to Frank Nitti's ghost. But nonetheless, very documented. Many people have seen him there.
Absolutely.
And that, and now I work there in all sorts of weather. I mean, rain, fogs, thunderstorms, snowstorms, everything, all kind of weather and atmospheric conditions, everything. Not once could I ever say I ever encountered Frank Nitti's ghost or anything. And I parked my car right there, but never saw him. No, nothing.
Well, maybe he was just not speaking to you that
because
you were only half Italian.
Yeah. It's actually quite a distance because his house was at. I won't give the address of the house because then people will show up there at the house because the house is still there in Riverside, and this is actually North Riverside where he committed suicide. And he actually walked the day he committed suicide from his house to the tracks there where he committed suicide. It's a pretty considerable walk, so he was probably trying to find somewhere a little further away from the house, not too close to where he lived.
Either that or maybe it just took him a while to make up his mind that that's what he should be doing.
Yeah, some of the eyewitnesses, which would have been some of the men that were working on the tracks that day there, said they actually heard 3 shots, and they says it looked like he fired 2 to the ground, and then finally the last one looked like he got the courage up, and that's the one he put to his head and banged himself, Well,
I think it's really neat, where we're holding the conference, I started doing some research about Moraine Valley Community College, and
now you can tell me they're haunted.
Well, no, they're not. but I drew a circle, and within 6 miles of the college, there are 10 significant haunted sites. You've got Bachelor's Grove, you've got Resurrection Mary, you've got the German Church Road with the sisters that were murdered out there.
The John Humphreys house.
Maple Lake Lights.
Maple Lake, yeah.
I mean, so you've got an enormous amount.
You're very close. Well, you're not. Well, Maureen, you're still not too far away from Archer Road. And need I say more about Archer Road and all the haunts on it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, where I'm at, I just moved over the summer. I moved from Summit, where I lived all my life, to Alsip. And we're in Alsip there. We're surrounded by 13 cemeteries.
It is astonishing. Yeah. It is astonishing.
Yeah.
But and the other one of the other ones is the Monk's Castle.
Oh yes,
St.
Peabody's
James.
Tomb. Yeah, St. James. Yeah.
I just found out that actually I was doing some genealogical research late last year and found out that my family actually originated in Lamont when they came over from Ireland. They originally ended up over in Lamont. And they were
Wait a minute,
enslaved.
they came from Ireland to Lamont?
Yeah, they came from Ireland to Lamont.
What year would this have been?
1850s, because they were
Really?
they were digging the canal.
What the heck was in the 1850s in Lamont? There couldn't have been.
Absolutely not.
I was going to say, there really would have. I don't even think there were settlements in Lamont at that time.
They were just starting, but because they were digging the canals out
A good
there.
many of the graves in St. James are the Irish that built the canal. That died
Absolutely.
doing it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of the Irish, when they came here to dig the canal for the work, were not used to the summer heat in it, because in Ireland it doesn't get hot
No,
like that,
no.
and the mosquitoes and the malaria and all that kind of came
Right,
with
well,
it. So
they had a
killed lot of
cholera
them.
epidemic,
and cholera
too.
too from
Yeah.
the bad water and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, so a lot of that killed a lot of them that worked there. And of course they were doing hand labor.
Right.
hand
Well, my
digging and
ancestor actually lost his first wife, and then it was his second wife that I'm descended from.
Ah, okay.
So that was I want to say 5 generations back. So
Yeah.
it was interesting looking.
That's interesting that you can go that far back with your family. In the 1850s, that would have been right around the time of the potato blight, wouldn't it?
Yep, right around that.
Right,
Right
that's
around that
that's when
time.
you had a big
Absolutely.
wave of Irish that came here because they were starving in Ireland.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. The with Ancestry.com, not to give them a free commercial, but actually found out that a part of my family was here in the 1620s. They
Really?
actually were part of the founding family of Hartford, Connecticut,
Really?
and then from there I was able to go back to the 1400s to Essex, England.
Wow, that's neat that you could trace that far back. Yeah.
It was neat. Then a lot of the records were lost in the Great Flood.
So some of your ancestors, yeah, or the Great Fire. Yeah, the floods and the fires destroyed
there
a
you
lot
go.
of stuff around Chicago. Yeah. So they actually immigrated in the 1620s, which is real early.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like when the
absolutely.
Pilgrims came here.
Literally.
Yeah, that's real early. And
One of the
and then
things
what
that
was it? And then there was like a lapse in immigration, and then nobody came again until the 1850s, or
No. I mean, there was a fairly steady immigration all the way through, but like I said, a big portion of my family was already here. They were fighting in the Pequot Wars with the Indians, and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
Long before the Revolution. I mean, when I tell people that my family was here 130 years before the signing of the Declaration of Independence, they just kind of look at me like, does that make you a Native American? I'm like, nah, I don't know how far back I have to go to be a Native
Not unless your
American.
ancestors walked across the Little Peninsula that at one time connected Alaska to
Yep.
the Soviet Union, or whatever it was. How they walked across, yeah.
Wherever you can see your house, yeah.
I knew this was going to be an interesting conversation with Tom Cameron. We are going to stop for just a moment here and take our break, and please stick with us and come back and listen to more of what Tom's got to say.
You're listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Tuesday, May the 17th, the year 2016. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich, Illinois. And now, back to Paranormal Radio and Bob Trisek.
Thank you, John. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us. Just in case you're just tuning in, we're talking with Mr. Tom Cameron, a very interesting gentleman. Tom's been with us before. A couple of times you've been here, haven't you, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Tom's been with us a couple times before in that, and Tom is just involved in so many things. And the conversation tonight, we've been touching a little bit on the paranormal, which is what everybody tunes into Paranormal Radio for, and also we're talking a bit about ancestry in that, and Tom's got a very interesting lineage that he's actually been able to trace down all the way back to, practically the birth of this country itself. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I mean,
Yeah.
it was funny because one of the things that prompted that is, as I said, I was looking into the ghosts over at St. James at Cal Sag, and did not realize that I had a personal connection to that one. And then there's also a smaller cemetery out that way that I've got another connection to. Had no idea that my family actually was located out there, and as you said, now that you've moved out to Alsop, you're in the middle of where a lot of my family ended up getting buried, like Mount Olivet and all the rest of it. I've got a great grandfather that's in Mount Olivet in unsanctified ground, because he committed.
He was not baptized, or he committed suicide?
He committed suicide.
Oh, yikes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was in an unsanctified ground. I think since they've actually sanctified the area.
Yeah, I was going to say they changed some of these rules about this
Right.
kind of stuff. Gosh, ages ago when I was a kid, I was maybe 13 or 14, my grandfather on my mom's side.
Mm-hmm.
What happened with him, he was married, actually kind of like yours. He was married to someone else first.
Right.
That wife died, and the woman that was my grandmother, then he married her. Anyway, the first wife died in childbirth. And so because the baby died at birth and was not baptized,
Right.
same thing. The baby was buried in one of these plots that they had for the unbaptized babies, and she was buried someplace else. And I think that always kind of bothered him, because I remember him talking about that a few times.
Well,
that, he never had the child buried with its mother,
Right. Right. Well, it's very strange when you go out to the
Yeah.
cemetery to have my great-grandfather in one place and my great-grandmother was buried with her parents, in same cemetery, but in entirely different areas. She had passed away probably due to birth issues or things
Sure.
that happened as a result of
Well, the two biggest women, killers of women in the past were fires and birth.
Absolutely,
You know.
and that was her 9th child. She,
My Lord.
the child
Yeah.
didn't survive.
Ah.
But so he had 8 kids, and I'm sure he was looking at going 8 kids and no wife, and he ended up committing suicide 10 months later.
Oh my gosh, what happened to all the children? Now they had no parents.
Well, the oldest boy, talk about somebody picking themselves up by their own bootstraps. He was 17. He decided he was going to be the father, and he raised all of the
Wow.
other kids.
Boy,
So
what a tough haul. Yeah, he must have had, yeah.
well, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But they all turned out to be productive citizens.
See? Yeah.
And, so it was a different time and a different place.
Certainly,
they had
that's for sure,
relatives
yeah.
that were assisting them, but they stayed together as a family in the family home. So.
Yeah, wow.
So it's funny where these things can lead you. You never know. We talk about synchronicity and coincidence, and I just don't believe in coincidence. I think that you're led to certain discoveries for purposeful reasons.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. I believe a lot of that myself. I don't circumstances and coincidence, that kind of stuff. You can kind of blow it off to that. But I'm the same thing. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
that's my
absolutely.
feeling. Yeah,
absolutely. So,
Yeah.
doing the genealogical work and being prompted to do that, it's like, okay, maybe this was the end result of it. Maybe finding out a little bit more about not only about my own history and but finding out that I was so invested in the area. Then my family moved from the Lamont area over to the South Shore area, and that's where I grew up. And primarily the reason that I got involved in the paranormal as well as in martial arts was because the house that I grew up in was incredibly sick. It just incredibly haunted. It had been used, I found out, it had actually been used as a mortuary for a local church prior to being turned into apartments and into a storefront. And starting from early on, I was there from the time that I was 2 until the time that I was 22. And from early on, I would see a guy, now I recognize it as mortuary clothes, but dressed in a tailcoat with a top hat, and he was regularly bothersome to me and would throw things around the room, would actually rip the body of Christ off of a crucifix. He
Jeez.
did that more than a couple times.
So he was a very physical ghost.
Absolutely. And we moved out of that when I was 22. And within 6 months of me moving out, 3 people died in what used to be my bedroom, and the house burned down.
Wow.
So
It's good you got out of there.
whatever I was doing as far
Was
as
keeping you alive, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and keeping the house safe. Evidently, it was
Yeah.
keeping the ghost at bay.
So 3 people died in what used to be your bedroom when you
Yes.
moved out. Now, how long of a time, Sam, was it from you moved out that all
6
these
months.
people, in 6 months, people
6
died?
months.
And the house burnt down?
Yes.
Jeez.
It was.
What's over there now? Is there another house built on
no,
that spot, or
the
just a vacant
entire
lot?
area is vacant.
That's kind of a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
When I look at it, it's like, okay, you
We're gonna have to go back there someday if you have the courage to do it, which I'm sure you do, because nothing bothers you, and just see if this man with the tailcoat and the top hat ever shows up again.
It would be interesting because when I got old enough,
Just because the building's gone, he could still be hanging around there.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
because he was actually killed when we did a channeling session to try and find out who this guy was and why he was there.
Yeah.
Turned out he had been killed by a streetcar out in front of the house.
Oh.
But he had been the mortician.
I would get, just from the appearance like that, I would think he would be,
And-
typical, 19th century,
Absolutely.
what a mortician would have looked like at that time. Yeah.
Absolutely, and the reason he was afraid to go on is because he had not been nice to the bodies.
Oh, my.
So,
Yikes. Now, how'd you find this out?
We did a channeling session,
And that all came out?
and
Yeah.
it all came out when we contacted. We didn't contact him. He was not amenable to the idea of speaking, but we talked to people that had
Now, did he come through a seance session or through a
through a trans channel.
trans channel?
Yeah,
Okay.
through a trans
All right.
channel that we
And
used.
you're able to get the information.
Right.
Who gave the information? Him himself told you these things?
It
Or?
was somebody who had been used by him. It was somebody who
they were
had-
relating their story and
Right.
saying this was going on. Oh.
Right, exactly, and then
Yeah.
Again,
You
I
feel
did
sorry for all these poor souls.
Oh,
Hopefully they're
absolutely.
all at rest. Yeah.
One can
Of course, they
only
were dead
hope.
already, but when he got to him, whatever he did, which I don't know if I want to know, but whatever he did to him,
Yeah, I didn't want to be real particular.
there wasn't any
or real
necrophile
specific.
going on here, was there?
Yeah,
there was.
that's-
Oh my!
that's
Yeah,
exactly what that
That's
was.
the first thing that came to my mind was necrophilia. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. And then after we did the channeling session, I did the research to find out that yes, indeed, what had come through was accurate. That one of the local churches, they had their church services in what became the storefront, and they waked their parishioners upstairs in what was our apartment. And in fact, the place that was my bedroom used to be the preparation room for the bodies. I'm like, oh yay! No,
Once upon a time, before they actually came out with actual funeral parlors, the embalmer came to your home.
right?
And they did
right.
it in the home, in the house, and the casket was laid out in the. That's where the term funeral parlor actually came from.
Right.
Because it was held in the parlor, or front parlor of your home. My home, the home I lived in Summit before pre-remodel, we actually had double doors to the parlor, and my father used to say those were for caskets. He said we had the double doors because they were double doors to take a casket in and out.
In and out,
When someone
right.
died in the family, they would be waked in the front parlor of the house.
I absolutely believe that. Well, like I said, in this case, it wasn't that they were being held in the home; they were actually being held in what essentially was
In the building,
church hall,
and then in the
know.
church, and they wake the bodies upstairs.
Right, right.
My.
So,
Yeah.
so having that kind of a background and being introduced to the paranormal that early on, that's really what provoked my interest. I wanted to find out as a young guy ways that I could protect myself from this thing that was
whatever it
tormenting
was,
me,
yeah.
So that's how I ended up getting.
But you
into the
wound up
paranormal.
okay. You're a very accomplished person. You went on to do good things in life and do stuff like that. So you were one of these ones that it didn't really affect you that negatively. You were able to realize this for what it was, and you kind of grew out of that and everything. And then, of course, moving, I'm sure, helped a lot too. Getting away from it.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Moving
yeah.
definitely helped.
Yeah. So you were able to realize what this was and take it for that, and go
Right.
on with life and do
Oh,
other
absolutely.
things. Yeah.
I didn't
and able to see what was real and what was this, and make
Right.
the differentiate between the two.
It's like I say, it's interesting because as I said, I don't believe in coincidences. So there was that aspect, and then the martial arts came in because the neighborhood got quite seedy and quite dangerous. So I ended up
Finding a way to
taking
defend yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
After somebody shoved a gun up my nose and pulled the trigger and the gun jammed, it's like, perhaps,
Wasn't your time.
Perhaps I need to find a way to protect myself because
Yeah.
the next time I might not be so lucky. So
Yikes! Yeah, close call for you.
yes,
Yeah.
It's amazing how many close encounters I've had with that type of a thing, and I'm still here. So I have to chalk it up that there must be a greater plan for the things that I'm doing.
Just what you're saying right now, that's often what I tell people, and myself too. we all go through this. And myself, when I'm going through a bad time in life, something's happening, and we all go through it. And then sometimes, too, people will, you'll meet people and they'll just pour their life out to you. And they're going through some real awful things, be it an illness or financial troubles or whatever it is. They're going through stuff. And I tell them, I says, you know what? Think of everything in your life that you've been through up to this point. And there have been some horrible things, but you're still here. And I said, you're going to get through this too, And that's what keeps you going. And you say, yeah, this too is going to be a history, thing that's going to be in my past, and life is going to go on,
I'll be able to get through this because of all the, the stuff in my past.
It does kind of make you strong,
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, that's that old expression, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
At this point, I kind of feel Goliath-like.
Some people are a little more able to handle it on their own. Some people need the help of other people around, to give them the encouragement and help and that kind of thing. And that's why we're here, hopefully to help each other,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of the reason why I did the conference. It was funny because the conference started out accidentally, I guess you could say, because I was working for the Palos Park District as a martial arts instructor, and we were trying to find other ways, other venues of being able to raise funds to get some of the equipment and such. And we tried a couple different venues, and we tried a talent show, in which I sung. So, I was using that. And when they weren't as successful as we had wanted them to be, the boss and I were sitting down, and it's like, well, I could always throw a paranormal conference. And I literally stopped and looked around the room like, who said that? Why did, and my boss looked at me and she asked.
Now, you would think this would be something that a college wouldn't go for. They would say, this is kind of hokey-pokey stuff. We don't want this in a college, but they took
this
it
was
seriously.
Through the Park District.
Yeah.
So this was through the Park District initially. And, the boss asked me, she's like, well, do you know enough weird people? This was her words, not mine. Do you know enough weird people that you'd be able to put together a conference like that?
Yes, we do.
And absolutely, you have no idea the level and the number of weird people that I unique and peculiar are better terms, but absolutely. And so we did the first couple conferences over at the Park District, and they had a change in management, and the new people decided, just as you said, that it was maybe a little bit too fringy for a governmental body to endorse. So they said, well, maybe you can do it on your own. And so I've been doing it on my own ever since. So this will be the fifth.
And it's been successful. Yeah.
This will be the fifth annual conference. So I'm real happy. It seems like I was provoked to do this one way or another.
I'm happy about it too, because I've always shied away from these things for whatever reason. I've never done conferences like this, and I know they're around in that, and I've been asked and that kind of thing. And then Tom made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He doesn't charge me for the table. He's very generous to me. And he lets me come there, and he gives me the table, and I go there, and then I'll do a lecture for him too. I'll do that and that kind of thing. And it's a lot of fun, and you meet a lot of neat people there, a lot of the weird people, so to speak. Absolutely. But they're not. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody's into something different, and they're just a bunch of interesting people, and it's just a fascinating experience. It really is.
Well,
the 2 days we're there,
and we gain the benefit of having the radio station. So while you may not actually lay out money, we still actually have a very mutually beneficial type of arrangement.
Yeah, it works out nice. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, Bob is one of our vendors, and he does readings for us out there. So if you've never had the opportunity to meet Bob in person and have only heard his lovely dulcet tones over the microphone, come out and see him and get readings from him. He is unquestionably one of the more popular readers that we have out there. I constantly am getting remarks from people who come to the conference. Wow, that Bob, he's really accurate. He's really amazing. I like him. I've gone to a lot of readers before, but
keep going, Tom. You're doing fine. Keep going.
And I wouldn't say it if it weren't true. I mean, it's absolutely true that.
No, it's a lot of fun to do. It really is. I enjoy doing it, and you do meet some wonderful people there and that. And what I'm noticing now is, like, I've been doing it for the 2 years. You get repeat people. Absolutely. Some of the people that came to me the year before come back. So that's a nice thing too. That we're getting people that are coming back. Again.
Absolutely.
Looking for readings and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And it seems like we've beat the curse because
okay.
the conference, it was very strange. It seemed like every year the conference was losing one of its readers, that passing over. The first year was Richard Crowe. And
so after you give me the table free, then you tell me this,
The second year was Kurt. I'm sorry, the last name escapes me. He used to do the ghost tours out in Naperville, and the year prior to that we had Rick, who was a minister and a reader. And
yes, Rick Christenet. Yes. He was a wonderful. I had Rick Christenet when I was doing my show at WARG Radio. I had Rick on as a guest. And he was just a wonderful gentleman. He was so nice. He was a spiritualist minister.
Absolutely.
Just a nice gentleman, a wonderful man to talk to. I'm very. It was just a pleasure to know him. It really was.
Yes, it was.
A nice gentleman.
It was.
And I was so
blessing.
surprised to find out that he passed away.
Right.
Yeah.
He passed away. But last
I never
year,
had him here. I never had him here on Windy City because by the time I started doing the shows here at Windy City, I think he was already passed away by then.
Okay.
But I did have him on WARG, and I've got the cassette tape of that interview that we did with him.
I'd like to hear that.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
But last year we didn't lose anybody, so we beat the curse. Yay!
Yeah. Can you do something for the Cubs now with the Billy Goat? Or
I don't think the Cubs need any help this year. It certainly looks like they're well on their way. I'm not a sports person, but I am thrilled for the people that are into sports.
Well, you're not a sports person, but I'm sure you've heard the Billy Goat curse, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, anybody can have a bad century. What can I tell you? So it's just it's amazing that both sides, that both the Cubs and the Sox are.
See, that's how I am. People with this North Side, South Side Cubs Sox thing and that. I'm like, I just want one of the home teams to win.
Absolutely.
I just want someone to win.
Bring good mojo home to Chicago.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Blackhawks' turn this year. So
no. They've been doing good though. We've had a few good years with them. So yeah,
every other year. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Every other year. So it's funny how things like that go in cycles. But again, that's another one of the things. Bringing it back, that's another one of the things that we explore. We have a person that does astrology, and that's nothing but cycles, talking about how cycles return, and it's fascinating. I'm not a big person into astrology. It's not that I don't believe in it. I don't follow my own chart.
Sure. Okay.
I tend to follow more the Chinese stuff because I understand, coming from the martial arts background, I understand more of the Chinese explanations for the energy and the rest of that type of stuff, which also contributes to the way that I fixed up my house. I'm sure that in large part helped me gain my own control over my energy to get myself healthier, and with the weight loss.
Very much into numerology and into genealogy. The Chinese are very much concerned with that.
Well,
concern others, yeah.
At some point, I want to talk to a really good numerologist. Hopefully, maybe you can give me a referral, because for me, the number 13 is king. I was born on Friday the 13th at 6:13 in the evening. I was 7 pounds 13 ounces. My name has 13 letters in it. I graduated on the 13th. I got my degree on the 13th. I got married on the 13th. My first child, we conceived in the 13th week of our marriage, and she was born in the 13th month of our marriage. And here's one for you.
Your first apartment was on the 13th floor.
Here's one for you. My parents both died on April 2nd. My father died first, and my mother died on his 13th anniversary at the same hour on the same day.
Wow. Now, these are not coincidental.
There's no way I could have worked
Absolutely
that.
Not. Yeah.
I can arrange my wedding day, and I might be able to arrange my black belt test, but the death of my parents, now somehow that's a little bit beyond my capacity.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
So I would love to know, and according to my life chart, I'm a 4 pathway, which is what a 13 breaks down to. So I would love to talk to a numerologist about why 13 seems to be so incredibly pronounced as a factor.
But in
my
your
life.
case, things just happen to be happening for you on the 13th. Not necessarily they're all good.
Oh no,
You know, like your parents. That,
it's-
of course, will not be good. That happened on the 13th. So
It's
you've got
always
good and bad.
something
But important,
life-changing,
important things seem
significant.
to happen for you on the
Absolutely.
13th.
Yeah, it's
That's
always
interesting.
significant.
What just happened last week Friday? We had a Friday the 13th. What happened to you
Well,
there?
actually, that's when several of the radio interviews and stuff came through, and I got a job offer. So
Oh, good for you.
so we'll see how that pans
Yeah,
out.
see how that runs out. Yeah, good for you.
So it's going to be interesting.
So definitely the 13th is lucky for you. Now, in Spanish-speaking countries, it's Tuesday the 13th, not Friday the 13th.
Really,
that's a bad luck day.
interesting. I
Yeah.
was not aware of that.
Yeah. In some of the Spanish-speaking countries, it's a Tuesday the 13th and not a Friday the 13th.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think the Friday the 13th actually started from something biblical. Like a lot of the biblical disasters, they figured out happened on Fridays, and they happened to be Friday the 13th.
Oh,
How they would
okay.
know this, I don't know, because the calendar changed so much through the
Now,
years.
see, I
but
was under the impression that Friday the 13th was considered unlucky because of the Knights Templar being raided and murdered on October the 13th, which was a Friday.
yeah, but someone sat down and figured this out, and they said, well, a lot of the bad things in the Bible that happened on Fridays, and they happened on the 13th. Like Noah and the flood. The flood started on the 13th.
Really?
Supposedly Christ was crucified on a Friday the 13th. Adam and Eve's fall from grace was on a Friday the 13th. I don't know how they know this, but someone figured out that all these biblically bad things happened on the 13th.
Well,
you know?
it's fascinating that you say that, because
Yeah.
I've actually had a person that did a past life reading on me and said that I was crucified at the same time that Christ was on the same
What
day.
were you, one of the thieves?
That's kind of what they
Jeez,
were
yeah.
intimating.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I'm like, okay, perhaps that's not a life I want to investigate.
I don't know about that. But depending which one you were, if you were the good one that went to heaven, or if you were the bad one,
Right,
you know.
and it was funny because I did get a vision, if you will, or a visualization, I guess is a better way of putting it, of being crucified. But there were dozens and dozens of people. It wasn't just two, but there were dozens and dozens of people that were being crucified, and I got the idea that I was more a rebel, that I was fighting against Rome and gotten caught, and
okay,
that type of a thing. So it's interesting that that's supposed to have taken place on a Friday the 13th. That's maybe that's where it all started.
that could be. I don't know. You got some things going on there, Tom. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah.
In fact, one of the readers that's going to be at the Paranormal Conference.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's got to be some numerologists that come to the conference.
I've never had a numerologist, but I do have
we'll have to get you somebody that come out there.
I'm looking for one. I absolutely am looking for one. But one of the guys that does Akashic record reading, I'm actually supposed to be doing a meeting with him in a couple weeks, and that's one of the topics that we're going to broach to see if he comes up with some of the same information that I've gotten from the past. So.
There's a lady over here in Oak Lawn. She's over on 95th Street there. She's got a shop there. Kim something. I forget what her name is. I'm not sure if she's into numerology. She's into all the healing and the Reiki and all this and everything and that. But I think she has somebody that does numerology there in the shop. I'll have to find out for you.
Please
and then
do.
we'll have to see if we can get her to come to the conference.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, you get another person for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're having a couple new people at the conference. A couple new health and wholeness, holistic type of healers that are going to be out there. So I'm looking forward to working with these new people as well. So
yeah, me too. The conference is a nice thing. It's a nice experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it is. We had a couple new people last year. I had a treatment. I think I had about 750 crystals on me by the time the woman finished. But it was amazing because afterwards I had an aura photograph taken, and the difference in my aura was just astonishing. Normally my aura is vivid red, which can either, depending on the person, can either be interpreted as incredible intensity, or it can be incredible anger. I like to think of it as intensity, but I guess that's for other people to determine. But after I had the crystal treatment, the aura was absolutely golden. It was really interesting. It was definitely towards the orange shade, so there was still some red in there. She didn't completely evacuate the person I had been before, but it was amazing the level of change that was actually visible on the photograph. Have you ever had a photograph taken?
Mm-mm. No, I haven't. Not that I'm against it. I just never have done it. No.
It would be interesting. Particularly taking it normally and then taking it while you're doing somebody's reading.
That would be a good one to do while I'm doing a reading for somebody. Yeah, because, and see what comes out with that.
We've done it before. I've done martial arts and then afterwards, and again, the change is it's astonishing how much of a change can be perceived for something like that.
Something I found out about doing the readings, like at the conference, when you're doing a lot of them,
right?
You get your breaks.
Absolutely.
There's like nothing, and then all of a sudden you're doing a lot, and you'll have maybe like a line of people that are coming up for readings. And I found out it does drain you.
Oh, absolutely.
After you've done so many of them, you find yourself getting a little tired from it. And I thought, why am I getting tired? I'm not really doing anything physical.
Right.
I'm sitting here, but I guess it does. It drains your energies.
One of the things that a researcher from the Monroe Institute that I had worked with said that one of the things that seems to be depleted after anybody does a lot of subtle energy work, I guess is the best way of putting it, and whether it's readings or whatever, it seems to deplete the potassium in the body. So if you take orange juice, or if you have a nice big plate of French fries or a baked potato or something like that, that will actually help replenish the energy fairly quickly. So
like I said, I make a point of telling people I'm not a psychic. I make a point of that. I says I'm a reader. I'm reading what I'm seeing there. I don't have any special powers, because you do get people that come with specific questions and things like that. And I say, okay, I'll see if I see it here. If I don't see it here, I don't make anything up. I'm honest with you. That's how I feel it should be done. Well, and so far people seem to be happy with the readings. So,
absolutely. And I would ask you this, because when I used to do tarot readings for conferences and things of that nature, even though I would have the same...
He does tarot too, another talent. Yeah.
Even though I would see the same card, every time it seemed like I would focus in on some different aspect, some little portion of the card that seemed to have significance. Now,
that's a bit of intuitiveness, and I think likewise too with palm readings too. The same line could be on one person, the same line could be on another person. For one person, it means one thing. For the other, it means something else. And of course, too, it's the placement of the line and what's around it also.
Right.
So it could be, like you say, same line, same placement, same shape and everything. One person, it means one thing. Another person, it means something else. So it's hard to kind of generalize,
Right. Now, so even though you call yourself a reader, don't you attribute some of that at least to intuition or to some sort of psychic
I would say
or
to a degree.
perception?
I would say to a degree, yes, you do. But like I said, I like to make it clear with people that I don't have any special magical powers or anything like that. I'm not some kind of a wizard or something. I like to make that clear to people.
Despite the pointy hat you wear,
I
mean, it just
and the turban.
Wow!
I'm actually doing a party this week, Thursday. I'm doing a private party for some folks. They're doing it. It's in the afternoon. It's like a ladies' club or something, and I'm doing a bunch of folks there. Going to do some readings for them and that, and
Well, as I said, I used to do tarot readings for and did like Palos Fest and Oaklawn Fest and things like that. And like you said, there are some times that you would end up with 20 and 30 people that you'd be reading in a day, and I'd just be exhausted.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
And the thing that finally did it for me is I had a woman that came up to me and I was doing a reading, and she was all excited because she wanted to know whether her baby was going to be a boy or a girl. And all I could see was that there was a severe illness and the child wasn't going to be carried to term.
Oh my. Yeah.
And I didn't share that portion of it with her. I said, there seems to be a problem, and I think you need to check with your not pediatrician. I can't think of the name of it.
As a psychic, that's a good way of doing it. You're telling her, kind of warning her, and letting her know some steps you may do to be able to prevent this, or to to do this, rather than just saying, "Oh, the child's going to be dead." You don't want to give people these kind of negatives.
Oh God, no. But it so devastated me. It so ate at me. I never did it anymore. I couldn't go back to doing that again.
Really? I can honestly say, in the time I've been doing readings, which is some while now, I've been doing for some years, I've never really run into anything that's been that negative that I want to say, that's it, I'm through with this. I'm done. You know.
It was funny because you would occasionally come across negative things. I remember one guy out at Oak Forest Fest, actually, where he was in the middle of he had won the divorce and he was in the middle of a custody battle. And it came up that he was going to win the custody battle, but his wife was going to kidnap the child.
Yikes.
But it was really funny because then he asked me where the child was going to be, and did another spread with the cards, and it all was coming up water. It's like, to me, it looks like he's going to be in the boundary waters between Minnesota and Canada. And when I told him that, he's like, "Oh, I know exactly where she's going. She's going back to her mom and dad's. They've got a cabin up that way.
She's going to kidnap the kid and take her with."
Right. You know, and it was what to me could have been potentially just an incredibly devastating reading turned out to be incredibly positive, because now I gave the guy information that he was able to use.
That is the right way of doing it. Yep, that's the right way to do it. Yeah.
No, thank you, kind sir.
That's exactly how they should be done.
I have been thusly endorsed.
That's exactly how I like to do them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just that way. Something negative and turn it into a positive for people, and let them.
You have to give them something to hold on to, something to hope for. I mean, it's just. But personally, it just became so difficult for me to try and figure out ways of looking at the bright side of life, so to speak, because generally I'm a very pragmatic type of person, so it's very difficult for me sometimes to be as optimistic as the situation would require, or as the situation would be helped by. So,
well, that's why you're able to get through so many things in life and come out like a rose, you know. Some people have this. Some people are born with this little horseshoe on them. Some of the things like that you have had happen and things like that, for someone else's situation, it would be devastating, and their life would never recover from it. But for you, in some way, a negative turns around and becomes actually a positive for you. So it's a good thing.
Well, it becomes a strength. I mean, I went through therapy a few years ago for PTSD. I professionally, I work full time as a security officer, and we had an incredibly devastating mass casualty incident at my plant.
Yikes!
And actually, one of the people that were involved, I actually was talking to him when he was shot to death. Because I was, as I said, I was working security. I was actually working as the dispatcher, and he was trying to warn us about a guy in the plant with a gun. And like I said, he was shot to death while I was talking to him.
Golly.
So I ended up going to a therapist for PTSD, and by the time I had outlined my biography for the therapist in the first couple sessions, the poor woman looked at me. She's like, "And this is your first time you're going through therapy?" And so she's like, "Most people would have been in an insane asylum by the time they were 20.
What is your ring size? You got to have like a size 14 ring size.
You're close, 13 and a half.
Yeah, those are huge. Oh gosh, this would be like a bracelet on me. To say nothing of the fact that this thing weighs a ton. This ring, I wish you could see this ring. It's got like a stone, like a ruby stone in it, and it's gold, and it's huge. I mean, this thing is loose on my thumb.
That's actually my wedding ring. We had a medieval wedding, so one of my students' fathers.
Just a word of warning for you: don't go in any water wearing this ring. You'll go straight to the bottom. It's like an anchor. Honestly, I've never seen such a heavy ring. It's beautiful, but it's very heavy.
Thank you. Yeah. One of my students' parents is a gemologist and a jewelry designer, so that was his present for our wedding. He designed our wedding rings. Yeah. So it's a dragon. In the medieval theme, and actually there again. Now that's a fascinating thing. Not to interrupt you, but here you're divorced and you're still wearing your wedding ring. I'm still, she and I still love each other. It's just we can't be roommates.
Well, what are you working on now? Let's put it. We're actually a little overtime here. We'll wrap in a second here. What's going on now? Of course, aside from the Paranormal Conference, which is a few months
the Paranormal Conference and the Documentary Film Festival, and the And the Senior Idol competition.
Give us the number on that again, too, if anybody's interested in these things, if they want to reserve a table for the conference, if they want to submit a movie for the,
The movie is best done through filmfreeway.com. But if they want to contact me about the conference, it's 708-205-3667.
There you go. Okay. Tom, it's fascinating listening to you. Honest to gosh, you're a great guest.
Thank you.
Please come back anytime you'd like to. Yeah, you're welcome to come back anytime you want. You're doing another show tomorrow night somewhere, aren't you?
Yes, I'm actually doing WGN tomorrow night.
Oh, WGN. Okay.
With Nick DiGiulio.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sure. Abandon Windy City and go over to the big time. go to the big networks there, huh? To go to WGN.
No, I hone my skills there so I can bring them back and be more professional for you guys.
No, I'm just kidding. God, you're welcome. You come back here anytime you want. You don't need an invitation. You call me and let me know when you want to come on.
Great.
We'll work you in anytime you want. Yeah. Thank you, folks, for listening. It's been just fascinating. Tom, thank you so much for coming on. And please just listen to us at the Windy City Network here. It's a joy for me to do these shows. They're an absolute pleasure. And thank you for listening, and thank you for allowing me to do these shows. John, thank you very much. John DeVita.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trisek from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich on Tuesday, May the 16th, the year 2016. Paranormal Radio was directed by John DeVita, and a special thanks to our executive producer, John Chicana of the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, and Kevin Zeflik of radio station WRHS FM Norwich, Illinois. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, May the 16th, the year 2016. Until next time, friends, please be safe, and thanks for listening. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich, Illinois.